Hi, everybody. Good morning. This is Joy from Strong-Hearted Native Women's Coalition. We have with us again Mike Duncan from Native Dads Network, and we are so happy to have you here with us, Mike. So this is our Friday Sexual Assault Awareness Conference, and I'm going to turn over to you, Mike. You can introduce yourself. We are recording. It will be posted on YouTube probably Monday, and over to you.
All right. That's a nice warm introduction. And right on off. No. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here. My name is Mike Duncan. I'm a Round Valley tribal member. Our reservation is located here of Northern California, up in Mendocino County. I'm also the executive director of Native Dads Network, and which is based out of Sacramento, California. And we've been a nonprofit for about, well, the vision came to me in 2012, but we became an official nonprofit September 9th, 2014. And I only know the date. Well, I should know the date anyways, but I kept on mixing the dates up. But yesterday I was doing some paperwork, so I figured, I said, oh, September 9th. It's not September 14th. So anyway, September 9th, we have an official nonprofit, and our work has been very has expanded through the years. I'm also a father of 5, and really happy that I got 3 boys, 2 girls, and that's pretty cool. Also, I'll share this too. I'm also recovering addict, alcoholic, whatever, all that stuff. I'm actually recovering for everything, and so, and just trying to be a better human being in general, and working on myself all the time. And that's something important for me going forward. And as I share today, some of the work that Native Dads is doing, I'm also going to share the again, the reasonings why, or how I got here, as far as a program, or my own journey of recovering and understanding it, of healing in this place of, and then how we're working with men today will be my ending. How we're working with men and the impact we're making here in Northern California, as far as working with perpetrators, working with people that have had domestic violence in their record, and then becoming well, and trying to change their life around and become better human beings and be in successful relationships and so forth. First, I'll just start, like I said, my name is Mike Duncan. I'm really, like I said, happy to be here. Native Dads Network we're doing a lot of different projects in the last few years. Our first project was we started working with the Fatherhood is Sacred program. The Fatherhood is Sacred program came when I was working at Shingle Springs Tribal TANF at the time, and somebody wanted me to be a fatherhood coordinator, and I didn't really understand or know what that meant at that time, because I've never heard of anything like that. But I took the job, and it was something it changed my life forever. I realized that, I started realizing the importance of being what a father was, and some of the behavior and some of the things that I was learning at that time, or thought I knew at the time as I was changing my life, were totally unhealthy. I really started doing work, and like you said, going to conferences and going to workshops like this, and different things, and understanding what DV was about, and or understanding what just the harm, historical trauma, intergenerational trauma, and started understanding like the impacts of that in our communities, with addiction, with say domestic violence, with suicide, and I found it very interesting. But while I was doing that work, I started realizing that I was, that was me. Like, I was part of that intergenerational trauma, and it really impacted my life. And I was, from a child, as a young kid, and that hurt people. That was me. I was that young kid that was angry at the world, blamed my parents for whatever, and ran around, just causing harm in communities and relationships, and ultimately myself. And then in turn it was doing that to my children by abandoning them, by going into jail, staying in my addiction. And so I come from that angle when I do my presentation, especially when we talk about DV or anything of violence. Like, I am an abuser. I'm a recovering abuser. Didn't know I was doing that at the time. Didn't know that was a thing because of the environment or what was shown as a young kid, what you thought was normal. And then realizing when I started getting well and started doing this work that, like, shoot, that was me. Oh crap, and man, really, and I only share that because I want people to understand and know that, like, for me, I mean, honestly, like, people can heal, people could change their lives, and people could live different lives. And in my own recovery and in my own self-reflection, I have to be honest and truthful. And I put myself on and humbled, and I put myself on a soapbox like I'm some perfect individual doing this great work. And I'm still working on my own, I guess, shortcomings, and my own healing, and asking for forgiveness and those type of things. Um, and as a father, a father of five, that is still like, and having kids, and having two of my children see me through that behavior, and still working on those relationships. And then that's my life work. That's the whole reason how all this started, was the fatherhood and me wanting to be a dad to my children and be an example to my kids, my sons and my daughters, of what a man should be. That's how all this started with me. And so I have to be honest. I have to be upfront. I have to be put my stuff out there, and say that's where my passion comes from. That's where my motivation comes from, and that's where I continue to be at, and to help men um, that want to be helped. I'm not putting my beliefs on anybody, but men that want to see a different way, or want to heal, or want to give them that safe space. Come in a place of not judging, come from a place of um, understanding, come from a place of, like, rules, order, like law. Like, this is about us trying to get everything back to a good place. And so that way our young boys and our future generations have examples of what young men look like, or strong men look like. And that's my motivation when I first started doing this group. Now, when we through the years, we know, obviously we expanded. We went to healthy relationships, and then healthy relationships, that was really to, again, to target, or to help promote healthy relationships and not domestic violence. We went into, again, we started doing work into sexual assault, sexual abuse in communities, again, because we started recognizing that there was that there was a whole bunch of stuff that we had to work on, and it was, we didn't want to, Native Dads and us, and our board, and other facilitators didn't want to, like, sugarcoat, be like a program that didn't address the things that were happening within our communities, that we knew that existed. And there were some things that were generational, meaning, like, there were some things that were happening in, like, we knew that it was the grandfather to the dad or to the son, and sexual abuse, and then it was from uncle to nephew to son. It was like these dynamics were happening, and it was like I said at the beginning, it was like hurt people. It was like, and then and I'll just share this. Working with some of the perpetrators of them, like, knowing them, and didn't really know they were that so was happening until they got arrested, and then going, holy smokes, and just really going into the jails and sitting with some individuals, and going, bro, like, what was going on, man? Like, and then hearing their side of the story of them being young and that happening to them really put a different perspective in my eyes. Like, holy crap, you know what I mean? And this is way like, and I, you read about it, but then when you hear the stories of how some of these things were happening to these boys, I mean, they became men, you understand the intergenerational piece. And that's where our organization is at today. We are about the intergenerational healing. We understand that it takes families, communities, it takes all of us to come from a place of like uh, developing safe places for men or even people, just anybody, to have safe places to heal. And that's been our approach for the last, you know, 8, 9 years, as things start to develop. And it's not easy work. And as all of you know, hearing the stories, and now, we're really, too, we're getting our fingers in, or at least supporting, not leading any movements or anything, but supporting the MMIW, MMI, person, MMIP, and all that, all the acronyms, letters that go behind that, men, people, and all this thing. But we were supporting that, and looking at how we could be an ally, or again, a support system for that movement, by working with the women that are leading that charge. And so there's a lot of work that Native Dads is doing that we're so excited about, that's needed. I say to you, our organization, all board is we have 5 board members. They're all, or 6, excuse me. We are all Native, and our staff is all Native, and so that's something that we're really proud of. That we're just putting the work in, and I'm trying to find the people that would really passionate about what we do. You know what I mean, and trying to make a difference in our communities. So that's a little rundown about Native Dads. For myself, we've been, change, when we talk about the healing person, or the healing individual, the healing father or healing man. One of the things that I recognize, and this is like, it's like almost a blueprint that I use for like my own life. Like I said, I'm a recovering everything, and I didn't realize, when we start to look at, we look at traditional teachings and ceremonies, really helped me with all this, along with 12 steps, along with, therapy, along with counseling, along with talking circles, along with like everything. I used every kind of modality or teaching or cultural teaching that I'm still using to be a better person. It's about progress, and I'm seeing it in communities that it's happening. Like, there's a lot of things that weren't like about, and then we have a long way to go, but there's a lot of things that were like, hush hush, don't talk about that. That's, you don't want to offend that family or this family or whatever, that weren't being talked about, that people are starting to talk about. And at least the discussions happening, and even in the smaller communities that we're going to. And then I'll share this because what we also been involved. One more thing we're involved is what we call the Native Dads Network Wellness Tour, and the Wellness Tour was really as addressing the opioid and fentanyl epidemic that's been terrorizing our communities, because and people, even outside gangs, been been coming into our reservations, that they've been making fentanyl and on reservations and selling it to our people and killing our own people right on reservation lands. And we're like, we know it's a dangerous kind of topic, because obviously, that kind of world doesn't want people to talk about those things, but we're going in communities and talking about it. And so I'm really proud about that work too as well. We've been going into, like when it started last year, we went into 7 communities, reservations and communities in 4 days. From Yakima, we went to Round Valley Indian Reservation, went to Consolidated Tribal Health, we went to Big Valley Rancheria, Robinson Rancheria, Grindstone, and Colusa. And then in that time, we've been to Bishop. We did a tour there. We went to back to Round Valley again, and then we went to Tule River, Tachi, and then to Verona, which is down in Southern California. And then we've been to Saratoga Springs recently, and our next coming planning stages, we're going to be in Hoopa and Klamath. I believe that's our plan. Nothing's set in stone with that yet, but that's our plan. And so that's the beginning stages of that. And it is to bring education, is to bring testimony, is to bring wellness speakers. We also bring our feathers and we dance. That was something we just kind of recently started doing, because again, what I know is, like, for us, for me, just in general, I'll speak for me. I feel like a lot of our group that we bring on our tours, about 20 people, that there's I was like, shoot, we have all our dancers and singers with us. We should bring and offer prayer to the people, because I know, like, we're spiritual people, and so that's what we want to offer. We want to offer the spiritual part, the cultural part, and its power like that. For me, it's healing, when we get to that part of uh, bringing that to communities. What I know I could offer, that's what I could offer to communities. Not only good words, I could offer prayer, and I could offer dance, and that's how we pray and how we connect with our spirits, not our ancestors that way, and so it's been successful. There's been some communities, obviously we had better turnouts, but I figured it's the beginning of, it's the beginning. So people are still hearing about what we're trying to do, and it's the train keeps going. We got to keep rolling on, making things happen within our communities. And so I'm gonna show a short video about that, like towards the end of the presentation. And so, back to change. When we started doing this work, and we started, like, one of the things when I started looking at my own life and how things impacted me as a young kid, and how I kind of led into this other world of addiction and my own trauma, my own pain, and like I said, taking it out on the world. It was one of those things that, if people say sometimes you should have regrets, but I have a lot of regrets in life, and I wish I could change some things. Obviously, parents or grandparents, my mom's mother, she's also my mom on my mom's side. I said Round Valley Indian Reservation. That's all my father, and I'm an enrolled member there. But my mom is also Western Baptist Shawnee, and my grandma went to Stewart boarding schools, and then my grandfather, my dad's dad, went to Sherman in Riverside back in the 40s, and that era, or probably 30s probably. But so the boarding school impacted our at least my family intensely. A lot of things I didn't know growing up, that I just thought I was just disconnected from my grandparents, and understand, why they acted the way they acted, and how it impacted my parents, in certain ways, and what they saw to be normal. And then and it impacted me. And again, not having the education, not having people. So, and I lived in Sacramento most of my life, growing up, because that's where my grandma lived. And and being raised by her, I didn't really understand. No one explained to me what the impacts were of historical trauma at that time, or intergenerational trauma. And so, I grew up angry, and I grew up with a lot of you know, just negative behavior, negative thinking. It was a depression, loneliness, and all these things, and I just acted out. And I thought I found a solution in alcohol, and the alcohol took me to a different place. And at a very, very young age, I started drinking I was about 8, and so it took me to a different place really quick. And I picked up a lot of negative behavior, found friends that, or people that I thought were my friends, that led me. And I was a big follower, because my insecurities in life and all that kind of stuff that we see happening with our young people, and it ended up taking me to juvenile hall, boys ranches, and the things that where our young ones go when they do bad things, I guess you'd say, when they act out. And so I grew up with that same mentality, immaturity, anger, brought into a belief system, and where people around, uncles of mine, womanizing, abuse, seeing abuse growing up. So of course, if that was being modeled in my family, that's what again, you think that you see it to be normalized. Well, my uncle did it, or my family did it, or my dad did it, or like whatever those things are, and you just feel like that's what men do. So I see that impact. I grew up like that, and that was kind of the same way that I grew up. And when I started getting into relationships, that's why relationships are so important. When we do this fatherhood, or we start to look at the teachings, some of the classes that we do in workshops, we start to get into that part of, understanding the importance of relationships, relationship rules or etiquette, kind of those things, and even courting. I remember, yeah, I'll just share this because it's kind of funny. Even like I remember when I quit drinking, it was like one of the things, that was the first thing I worried about. I go, how am I gonna meet girls? The only time I met girls was in a bar. But it was like those things you just don't know, because that's something I've always done, using alcohol to kind of, not only self-medicate, but as a tool to kind of, like a social world, and didn't know how to function any other way. And because I was in this other place when I wasn't drinking, that it always led me into this, like, never wanted anybody too close to me, didn't want anything long term, like I just was in a very bad place. And I guess that experience alone helped me develop some of these programs, because I started to, I really took a good look at my own life and said, what are some of the things that I fell into that I wouldn't want my children fall into, or I wouldn't want, as a man, when a man kind of is trying to figure his own self out, I kind of could put myself in that position and saying, okay, well, there was nothing there that was for men, because I think society sometimes society sometimes just says, be a man and figure it out, like tough it out. You can't cry. You feel sorry for don't be a girl, they say, right? Or don't be a sissy. They use word language like that. I've even heard women say that to men, or don't be a B word, and so there's this thing that, like, so there's nowhere to say, hey, it's okay to cry, brother, shed some tears, or even to give him that pat on the back when he's doing good, like even finding a part-time job, or just being sober for that day. Like, there's no one really patting everybody on the back, and we need that sometimes, not all the time. We're not saying baby the men. We're saying at same times we need a safe place where you're gonna feel like not attacked, or judged, or even, like, I always tell them, I forgive you. If it ain't no one forgave you for all that, I forgive you, brother. Like, some people need to hear that too, so they can continue the work to go forward. And so we created that in Sacramento. The pandemic really obviously um, hurt that, in a sense of, like, where we were having weekly groups at the health center here in Sacramento, and then which I've been doing. When I went on my own, I'll just share this, that I would do those groups in Sacramento on Thursday nights from 5 to 7 every week for about 8 years, without getting paid. That was something that I knew needed to be. It helped me as my journey, but it also helped the community, and I just did them. The health center offered me space, and I did it, and so no one paid me for that, or we didn't have no grant or nothing like that to pay me. I wasn't even getting paid from Native Dads at the time, so it was just something I just showed up, and I thought it was something healthy for the community, and I was giving back. And my kids grew up in that group, so they're 16, my younger ones, and so they're 16, 17, and 15 now. So, but they got to be part of that group as well, and it's pretty powerful. So as we're structuring this as program, and so we worked on relationships, we talked about domestic violence, we give men a safe place, we give and there's been a lot of hiccups in it, but in the most part, it's been a very successful program. We've been also working on again, substance abuse. So obviously we use some of the Red Road teachings, but we also use, again, some of our own sobriety. We use it all. Like, I mean, I feel like at this point, some people, well, don't use NA or don't use AA, you want to use this, don't use that. I was like, you know what? All of it works. We need all of it. So whatever fits that individual, right? whatever fits that individual to help them get to a place of healing. Like I want to utilize it all. Like if it's AA, if it's NA, if that's what you feel comfortable in, I don't mind. Or whatever, how you want to pray, that's on you. Our program is really culturally based, and so we kind of based it on that. We based on that, so we use smudge, we use, we sing, we usually ask one of the gentlemen or myself to sing, open up with a song, like these type of things, because a lot of times when people are in their addictions or they're isolating, it's like reintroducing them back into the culture. And so I know sometimes I even have our fatherhood drum. Sometimes I bring our drum, and well, the bros like that too. They like the drum before group or after the group. They'll stay, extra 45 minutes or so and kind of sing, and I'll bring it sometimes, not all the time. We don't have the time to do it, or sometimes the group runs over, so it's kind of planned and coordinated. But with this, again, it's about reintroduced into the culture, and what the culture means. What does it mean to smudge? What does it mean to be in a good place, to be happiness, how to make people feel safe around you, and that importance of that, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually safe. And how we practice that is what we do inside our circles. So it's like being an example of how a man should be, a man should behave, and think, you know what I mean? And so those are kind of our objectives and our goals, to give that to our community. And it is, and it's just something that, through the years that, myself, I've been, like the things I've been practicing, to me, I just kind of write things down and go, nah, that'd be good. It worked for me, so it might work for somebody else. And offering that to the community, that we work, when we work in. And so in that time, and so Sacramento has grown. We've been expanding and going to different communities, and so obviously we've been doing more of the wellness tour. We've been working on another project that's been going about 5 years strong, like about 2015, I think, when we started. Was called Boys with Braids. So we've been going into the schools, and then and also working with other um, tribes. That's what I was kind of working on this morning, a proposal to do a Boys with Braids conference in Reading. They're asking to do a one-dayer out there, which is great. It gives us time to, really encourage the young boys, make them feel proud, bring all the other grown men and adults out, and then also the young ones that have their hair, to see, like, kind of inspire them to go and continue to grow their hair out, but also give them teachings, and also teach them how to take care of their hair. Like, we have conversations about that, how to take care of their hair, why you grow your hair long, and why, just give them some explanations of, young ones, so they can feel proud. And then also honor the ones that cut the hair because of bullying, because of being made fun of, even sometimes being by even by their own tribal members. Like, we just encourage the boys, but we also give them, we also do workshops as far as suicide prevention, because we know we've met young ones that committed suicide because of their being teased and bullied. We do substance abuse prevention, obviously, that way, and then we also give, we do bully prevention workshops as well. And so that whole little package of what we've been doing has been, we've been doing that for a while in different communities. I know that we have one planned in August in San Francisco, working with the Friendship House and NAC, Native American Health Center, on bringing that in San Francisco. We're still working on the details on that, but that's in motion. But so we're doing some of that, but we've also got, like, uh, educational material, because and this is one of the thing about the schools, man. Oh God, don't stress me out about the schools, please. Schools are stressing me out because they don't realize they're a big part of the problem, and they always want things for free. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing everything for free for the educational system. You gotta pay for this stuff. I mean, you're the problem, and now you have to fix it. And you need people to come in to help you. I'll help you, but you got to pay me. So yeah, I don't mind helping you. And if you really care about your students, like you say you do, then you're gonna find that money. Trust me. But so it really is. We're attacking that whole thing, because we know our boys are being bullied, and again, it diminishes their self-worth, and then they go into start to act out, and then they, again, hurt people, right, from a system that doesn't really truly understand the Native population, our population here in California. So we've been doing that, and we're developing more and more. That's another project we're working with our youth to start doing, do some videos, educational videos that we're looking into to publish here in the next year or so. So that way we can send them out to communities to help them, or even again, promote or educate and those type of things that are Native youth led. So so those are beautiful things that we've been working on. And again, it's the idea of looking at my life and saying, man, I was sitting with these young boys yesterday because I work in Chico as well. I was like, oh man, we never had, when I was growing up, we didn't have circles like this. We didn't have healthy Native men sitting in circles trying to help us like at that time, man, a lot of things have changed, and that's a beautiful thing, you know what I mean? But it's also, again, it's about reaching out to these young men. And I think the fatherhood piece is so important. This is why I think the fatherhood piece is so important to that, is because dads need to be involved. Dads need to, we can't always rely on a program or rely on a tribal government or even clinic. Like, there at some point, families, we have healthy men raising healthy families, like with a healthy mother. Like, everybody needs to be healthy, right? and I think it's so important, and this is why the fatherhood motherhood piece is so important to like our program, and how I always tell people, we're teaching people how to teach, right? And when I look at healthy and unhealthy, like I said, I had to do a lot of self-reflection. You know what I mean? That's important to me, because that's how I'm gonna get to this other place, right? Of exposing all my little ugliness. That's why I tell on myself all the time. If you ever listen to me, I'll tell on myself a whole bunch of things, especially if I act out and do something stupid, because I just need to be accountable. I need to be accountable for my actions, whether it's out in the community or behind closed doors. And so my kids will tell you all the time that I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? They'll tell me, oh, dad gets mad over this, dad gets mad over that. And then there is, I do have a lot of rules in my house. And as Indian people, we know, and it isn't me trying to restrict them from doing things or holding them back. What I understand about rules today is that rules actually help people grow. And it's very traditional when you think about, especially if you live a life of chaos, or men or families are living in chaos because they're not living by any rules or principles. So in what I'm teaching and what I'm showing is that in our lives, we have to have rules, we have to have principle that we live by. To me, it has to be part of our character, it has to be part of who we are as people. If we don't, then chaos always creeps in and find, it's like water through a crack. If this finds its way through and it starts to disrupt whatever's there, your foundation, right? So so rules are very important, right? And I'm trying to teach my kids that, like, having rules in your life is important. It's instructions how to believe or how to think, how to behave. It's all these things. It's instructions for us. And it's very traditional as Indian people. Like, again, like when we talk about, how what would happen to a father, 1,000 years ago or 500 years ago in your tribal community? What would happen to your father, or a man that didn't take care of his family, or didn't or abused his child or abused his woman? What would happen to that father? There's rules. First they probably figure out, like, what's wrong with this guy, because that's not normal in our community. They probably try to help him, probably do some ceremony, like, or they would just ban him, like, you're poisoning our community with your behavior, right? I mean, I've heard a bunch of different stories what would happen. So same thing with a woman. If a woman didn't take care of her family, didn't take care of her husband, like, what would happen to that woman? It'd be some similar probably consequences, right? So we know, like, in ceremony, there's protocol. We know that there's, laws, and even like as we talk about within ourselves, like there's Indian law, like there's just some things that are unspoken that you just don't do. Like we just know because you were raised Indian, and you know that that's the law, that's the rule. You just don't do those things, and if not, somebody's gonna correct you real quick, and we know that, that to be true. Well, we need that kind of law, that kind of rules in our household, right? The same growth and to the power that happens at ceremony and in our communities, it needs to be held in our household. So there has to be rules, there has to be consequences, there has to be correction. And I tell my kids all the time, like, I'm gonna correct you if you're wrong to the day I die. You know what I mean? Like because why? That's my job as your father. I don't You turn 18 doesn't mean I don't tell you what to do. Like that's white man. That's the colonized way of thinking things. Native ways, that as an elder or somebody that's older, I'm always going to be instructing you. Just like as me, I get instructions from the elders. There's always instructions. I'm always learning. You're always going to learn. This is the process of our people. Like this is continuous, continuous, continuous. So there's also something that I've learned in ceremony, and something that we practice within, is about the idea of forgiveness. Like there is this thing like, or in self-forgiveness, like there's this thing of, and some people have been tested or go, well, that's a Christian word, or that's a church thing, we don't, or religious thing, we don't practice this. But our old people always knew about letting go. We don't have to call it forgiveness. You call it letting go or healing. You call it whatever you want, whatever makes you feel better. But we knew that holding on to something was poison to our body, poison to our spirit, poison to our mind, and that if we held on to things, whatever those things were, then we'd be sick. And so we knew forgiveness or letting go, or something that was something that was I guess, taught. And it was also, we created ceremony for it. We created songs for it. Things were dreamt for not to carry that poison within us, right? And so, and so those old teachings, those old things they're real. They're here today. But the thing is, do we practice those things? Do we teach them? Do we talk about them enough? Or, are we the ones, that carry grudges, anger, bitterness? Or we do carry the gossip in our communities? Do we carry like the poison that's like being put out there? Like, and I know that I used to be one of those, so I know that, like, it's very real. And when I got around those circles, we all did it. And we brought all that negativity, and then we step back and wonder, like, well, they're not well over here, or they're not doing this over here, not doing that over here. And then, like, even that, you're not thinking that we're contributing to that ugliness. And so, forgiveness or healing or whatever we want to call it, it's something that needs to be put into our communities, especially in relationship with children. They need both parents. They need men to have safe places, women to be in safe places. And it's not easy. Trust me, trust you, me. I know. I've been doing this work a long time. It's not easy to uh, preach it or teach it. But let me tell you this: this is something I was taught a long time ago, and something I very hold dear to my heart. And um, Brother Albert Tittman taught me this when I first started doing this work. He told me, he said, Mike, he said, this stuff is so much easier to teach when you live what you teach. And it's very profound, and it's something I carry with me everywhere, every place I go. And I use it in a lot of areas of my life, not just in kind of teaching, in my own parenting, is that, I have to live what I teach. So what Al Pulley talks about from NAFA, he goes, know what you believe. He said, know what you believe. And I was like, holy, I just like all that kind of meshes in my life. So I have to know what I believe in. You know what I mean? If I believe in creator, then I need to know what that is. I need to know what that means. I need to know and if part of that is when I talk to creator in my prayers and my ceremonies, my things, creator talks to me and gives me instructions how to walk a good life, and how I should approach things. And it's never in an ugly way. It's always in a good way. It's always in things like, you have to let go. You have to move on. You have to go forward. You have to focus on this. You need to put your energy in that. And that's where all my motivation comes from, that ceremonial belief system, ceremonial thought process. And all we're taking is that is and putting into a program or saying, okay, this is a belief system. Right? This is Indian way. This is how our men used to believe. This is how our men used to think. This is how we're supposed to be. And I know that you can't go backwards and take back the things that you've done, but what can you do today? What can you do going forward and to live a good life, to redeem yourself, to put yourself be as a productive member of society or a productive member in our community? What can you do now for that? Not look backwards and say and guilt yourself and shame yourself or live and then again, this is somebody's son, this is someone's grandson, this is somebody's ancestor, this is somebody's future, father, this is somebody's, what I mean, gonna be someone's grandfather. Like, how can you be better yourself? You know what I mean? And not everybody's going to be like, hey, you're well now, so we're all happy for you. That's not why you do it. You do it because now you're not causing no more harm. Now you're being better, you're feeling better about yourself. Now you can do something, teach something good, and use those experiences, whatever those negative things are, and use those experiences and use them as teachings, what not to do to people in the community, not do that to yourself, not to put more harm out there. We're using positive teachings and know that now when you cross over or whenever you meet your maker, whatever your time is on your earth, that creator is going to bless you and protect you in that way, because you changed your life. You did something good for your people and your family and communities. You weren't tearing it down, you're doing it. So we that's where like a lot of like, now I understand this more now through, like I said, my cultural part, like of my healing. There's a stepping stone is like kind of was like all the other stuff, like I said, all the programming stuff that it got me to this other place. But I incorporate all those things, and we found success in it. Even and people follow us, and even again, we do like I do and I've really, like, pandemic has really helped us in the sense of, because when we were just doing it in Sacramento, we are just kind of taking to little communities. Um, people were just hearing it like in person, but the pandemic forced us into the 2022 stages of teaching through social media, teaching through Zoom, teaching through all those things that I wasn't comfortable with years back or even a couple years back. And then now I'm comfortable to show my face, and be recorded, to be on YouTube, be on like different platforms to put out the message of healing and wellness. So one of the things that I want to do is that we do have a video. It's for our wellness tour. It's just kind of showcase like some of the work that we've been doing and the kind of the crew that we've been that we've been bringing on. So if Joy, if you could bring that up real quick and we can show that video, and then after the video, I'll talk a little bit about it, and then if you want to be any questions or comments, then we could go from there.
Okay, can you see the video? Okay, I'm gonna press play.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. This is Joy from Native Women's.
Long video.
That
was last week.
Video.
Why did that one pop up? That was stupid. That's not it. Hold on, it's in my email. It didn't download. It doesn't look right. Sorry, Mike.
No worries.
We had it so good this last time.
No worries.
Okay, here we go.
Give that to the water. Give it to the air. Don't hold on to it anymore. Let it go, right? Forgive. That's what forgiveness means. It means to give back that someone may have done to you. And so this journey of forgiveness that we're on is a powerful, powerful journey. But I'm also a part of my community. And I believe the healing just can't happen in one place. I believe we have to be dynamic with how we move forward into the future in our healing.
It's what we do as Native people. We help each other. We come together. We keep our community strong.
I keep on bringing this up because I shared this again with this morning with the, it's becoming more and more clear about the process of things. It's like understanding there's no longer, I'm going to sit around and stay quiet and allow my children to receive the things that weren't meant for them because I stayed quiet and stagnant. No longer am I going to just not stand around and do nothing for my children, grandchildren, or my great grandchildren anymore. All these things are happening within inside our communities. No community was not affected by what has been going on in the last year and a half, 2 years. And so, one of the things that I felt like it was something that important to do is like we need to come out and we need to share some hope. We need to share that medicine, that goodness. Not see it. It was like right in front of me. Everybody else was saying, Albert, you got to change. Albert, you need to change. Albert, what's going on? Albert, get some sleep. Albert, you need to pray. Albert. and one day, it literally, it was one day, the Creator spoke to me. One day, the Creator spoke to me, and I was sitting all of these tears. I was crying, and it was in that moment something changed. And prior to that, I was having dreams and visions, and then spirits were talking to me, and they were saying, you need to take the drugs and the alcohol out of your family. You need to get the drugs and alcohol out of your people. But I also want to stress how important it is that we make these relationships with the clinic in our community. There's a separation, and I'm seeing that there are things that the clinic can offer that if we come together, it'll save lives. It'll change lives.
I had all the right teachings and I had all the right people around me. Being a young teenager coming from a single parent home, it was tough. And I looked sometimes for other mentors who kind of led me in the wrong direction. But being that young man without a father, sometimes the people that I looked to weren't always the greatest. And so from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of the women for being the strength in our communities, for helping us to get to the place that we're at. And they say behind every strong man is a strong woman. And that's the truth. Because sometimes you see what we can't see. So today we ask that the Creator bless each and every one of you, that He give you strength to lead your communities, that He give you understanding on what our people are going through. I didn't walk alone in this world, that I represented my family members, that I represented my grandmother and my grandfather and all the ancestors who came before them. I represented them. And in this lifetime, sometimes we walk in this world like we just represent ourselves, but we carry the prayers of our people on our backs. We carry the message of our ancestors with us. We walk in the same places that they walked. And even we can't physically see them, the thing that Creator gave me understanding is the right here. Don't be afraid. I'll be right here. And I'll show you the way. Feel my touch. Let it warm your soul. A love that's forever. A love that's pure gold. Best friend. Take courage in us. When we're apart. When times get rough.
I'll keep you with me. I'll never let go. I'll always hold on to the life we were best with. The love that's so strong. You're not your best friend.
Okay,
Oh,
that was good. I like that video.
yeah, it's a good video, huh?
Yeah, it is. You guys did a really good job with that.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, that was our first tour. We actually use that video like now when we go places to kind of show like as people kind of come in, you know, to attend our tours now. We kind of use it as kind of like a, I don't know, just an introduction, kind of see where we've been. But I like it because again, you know, one of the things that I guess I've gotten comments on credit is that it's the inclusiveness. Like we're not, you know, 'cause I know a lot of times there's politics involved with some communities, like, you know, and I guess our approach is that it's community first. You know what I mean? Like we're not, like I said, we're not worried about too much of this or that, and I know some people do, but we're just like, we got to go help. People that want to be there can be there, and we give them that space. And then in turn, then when we have offer other things, programming, then they're like I said, it's like as far as fatherhood or motherhood or boys with braids, or they're comfortable to show up and be part of that, and to, you know, get some kind of healing from it. And so it's really good. It's really good. We've been doing in that one too. We also done the Narcan training. We do a Narcan skit. Some testimonials. I lost my cousin. That's how kind of I got involved with this first one, was that I lost my relative to fentanyl, and then one of the families there, they also lost their nephew through fentanyl overdose. And so we and then with all the increased during the pandemic last year, and especially in January when we started planning this, was like, you know, we recognized that domestic violence was on the rise. There was just chaos within the community because everybody was locked down. There was people were going kind of stir crazy. Some people were getting Zoom burnout, you know, that kind of thing. And we just missed, we're community people, so we missed you know, ceremonies. Some ceremonies were shut down, like not all, but a lot of them were. Majority of them were. Nobody was doing anything just because it wasn't safe. And so we kind of went into action, and we took we just, like I said, I was like one of those things, like our family goes like, oh, I got this great idea. This is what I want to do. We had one of our meetings, and I said, I want to go to all these places, and I know we can get in. I know that I could just call, you know, this person, that person. I know they'll let us in, and we'll do it all outside. And that way, everyone can sit in their cars. We'll hand out masks. We'll hand out sanitizer, and then and we'll every social distance. We could, like, we're just had it all, and then go. Everyone's like, oh man, that's a great idea, Michael. How are we gonna get there? I go, I don't know. What money? That's not my job to figure that out. My job is just come with the ideas. And so anyways, I go, well, if creator wants us to do this, then it'll happen. And it was interesting. We just and just like about a week later, we received this. It's just a small mini grant. It was like $10,000, but we received it, and then I was like, we applied for this like months ago. I'm barely getting it now, and it's like, so I reread it, and then and I was like, holy smokes, this is exactly what we're trying to do. It's and I said, we just got to modify it instead of, you know, budget modification, and but I think we're gonna be fine. And so we contacted the organization, we sent it in, and they were like super excited. They were like, yeah, this is great. And so that it was creator after that, you know what I mean? And that's, you know, that's the beauty of this work, when we start to see the change, and we're seeing it now. Little, like I said, little things are happening here and there that we're like I said, we're just recognizing. It's like, man, it's is based on the stuff that we're doing, and we're motivating people to want to change within the communities, or want things that have good in their communities, and giving them the kind of the support they need to do that work within their own communities is pretty powerful. So that's what I got today, guys. Do you have any questions or comments, or, you know, whatever? Or did I maybe go and touch on something that I maybe missed? I think this would be
We
a good.
have a question. Halana says, thank you for your transparency and sharing your knowledge. What's the best place to see Native Dads Network's upcoming events? Question mark. Facebook? Question
Well,
mark.
yeah, every Tuesday morning here on the Pacific time, 6:30 in the morning, is at crack of dawn. I get up, and I do something like this. I just share kind of I don't know what you call it. I call it morning motivation, you know, and just get up and share some good words and give some good thoughts, get you started on that. That's a one immediate way to watch us. We do have like a YouTube channel, but it's like we're still working on that. It's been a little kind of all over the place. We got some videos on there though. But like I said, we have a lot of upcoming events that are happening. We just got done with our Healing Together conference. That was a huge success. But we have some events. Like I said, we got Boys and Braids coming in San Francisco. And so we have a website. You can check that out. We also have, like I said, we got things planned in different communities. So it's just kind of, they're all in the making right now. Another thing we have coming up too, we have what's called Elevate Youth Grant. And that's what's been doing a lot of the youth work here in Sacramento. And then we have youth work coming in Yolo County, and basically in Woodland. We're going to work in the school districts here, but that's what some of the work we're doing here. But we're really motivated. And then I'm starting the fatherhood, the strictly the fatherhood group back in Sacramento here in the next month or so. We're going to start a group here. We found a location, so we're just kind of a more central, bigger office space that we're going to be utilized to hold our group there. And so it's pretty cool. So just go to our website. We'll start posting more things on there. And then we also, and then like I said, Facebook, we use social media to death. So go to Native Dads Network page. You'll see a lot of our events. I'll post things on there, or you go to my own Facebook, my own Mike Duncan. I put a lot of stuff on there as well of upcoming events or events that we're supporting in the communities here in Northern California.
I try to watch for your stuff too and steal it and post it on our page so that
Oh, good, good. Yeah,
so
you could
that we post your flyers. Yeah. So that's good. Anybody else? It looks like we're shy again today. Oh, here we go. Here's Halana again. I love Halana. She always has good questions. She says, you mentioned a boys men's group in Chico. Is this still happening?
Yes, we are. Well, it's not the boys and men, it's really a youth. And so we are doing, so I'm working with Machupta tribe, Indian tribe, and we are, it's what they, it's called Bear Program. I'm not sure, I forgot what the acronyms actually mean, Bear. But so we are, I'm working with them. I'm going into the schools. I'm working with what they're calling high risk. So ones that are, struggling or whatever. But the groups itself, they're kind of leaving it open as far like we had a young men's program, or I don't know, it's not a Gona, but it was kind of something like, something like that, but not, I mean, but it rained last weekend. We were supposed to have it at the Roundhouse. But so yeah, so that would be that. If you go to like my page, that's like more of a, I'm doing that outside of Native Dads. I contract with them, and with them when we weren't really kind of rolling the way we're rolling now. And I'm just attached to the community, and I want to make sure I don't abandon those boys, you know what I mean, out there, because I built relationships with them. So I've kind of I dedicate one day a week out there, and then I go out there, and then I help plan the other events that they want to do. And so now the pandemic is lifting in a lot of areas, and people are more inclined, organizations are more inclined to host events like that. A lot of things are gonna start popping up. Yeah, we're involved with a lot of stuff. So just, you gotta keep an eye out, or message me, and we could, like I said, or go to our website. That's the best way to kind of um, keep, because so much goes on at one time. And then I try to get it out there as much as I can. Usually by social media, though. That's how we get a lot of our information out.
Yeah, the social media is really common. She also, I wanted to give you a chance to answer that before I kept rolling. She said also, it's nice to get to hear you speak. My sister speaks highly of you, where my do.
Oh, awesome.
And then she put in Chico, but I don't know if I'm missing a reference to that or not.
That's okay.
Oh,
I mean,
Oh,
I
here
just
she is.
made a typo. I just
Oh,
put on Chico when I typed the question the first time. That's why I put in Chico secondly.
okay.
Anyway, Mr. Duncan, thank you very much. I enjoyed your presentation.
awesome. Thank you.
I
And
put it on black.
we've talked about slides. Sometimes, we do slides, but I'm trying to get away from, like more of the academic kind of way of presenting, and do more like storytelling, more of traditional way of kind of sharing information. And then, again, also obviously answering questions that way too as well. So there's, just a different approach. I think I'm getting a little better at it. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
you're welcome. And then I Googled, because I am me. You will learn more about me as we do these. The BEAR program, is it Bridging Evidence Assessment and Resources Program?
There it
Is
is.
that, yay. I want a gold star, just letting you know.
Right.
I love Google. So,
Right.
does anybody else have questions or comments? It's funny because when you were talking about like, because last year we had you present on consent.
Oh yeah.
And you did a really good job, and you did it kind of flying off the cuff. And I know that could not have been an easy topic to have a conversation on. But when you were talking about, how are you going to meet people when you're sober? When I quit drinking 20 years ago, it was like, how am I going to dance? I don't know how to. So like when I would go out, I would always have a glass of water in my hand. And
Yeah.
that was my crutch. And it's still, I've noticed it still is. I carry water with me everywhere because that's my crutch.
Yeah.
So it's just funny, the things that we hold on to.
Yeah, that we think we need though. That's the whole. Yeah,
Right.
I realize I can't dance at all. I can't dance at all. So is
Well,
that?
I didn't say I danced well. I just said I enjoyed it.
I know, right?
So yeah, it's funny. And Maria, Sarah, anybody? I can unmute you. Cheryl? I'm calling the ones I know because I'll shame them. But, well, I think that we are okay. So thank you, Mike, and I will see you Tuesday morning because you keep me company while I drive to work every Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. So it's
So,
honored. It's again, it's an honor to be on here. I think one of the things that I just wanted to, I'll end with this is that, you know, we are just trying to inspire and provide hope for communities. I know some communities can be really hard and, you know, to live in, and we're talking about like generational trauma, generational pain, generational still violence, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's hard, you know, you know, through the years, you know, you build relationships, you know, with, you know, and so when something's happens in a community that you start to have relationships in, and then you know, then you share the hardships, or, you know, somebody goes to jail, or somebody, you know, again, gets abused. It's like, it's really hard. It's heavy stuff for us as an organization. And that's why I really try to stay within ceremony too, because carrying some of the weight, I feel like it's hard on us too. And so I say that to all you out there that are doing the work, that are, you know, probably doing 8 things at one time, and, you know, just love everybody, and it's hard for you, but make sure you take care of yourself, make sure you take care of your spirit, continue to pray, clean up, you know, do all the things that you need to do to make sure that you're well, because that we need you, you know, our communities need you. And so, you know, I've been trying to do that too, try to take care of myself best the way I can, because I want to live a long life. You know, I want to see, you know, see my great and my great grandkids alive. You know what I mean? I want to be there, you know, it's a goal of mine. So, you know, I just want to be around, you know, and just to experience that, to experience the goodness of the work, you know, you know, trying to raise a good family, you know. So that's my goal. And so
don't go away.
that's what we're here, trying to share that message.
Yes. So Sarah typed in, thank you so much for saying those words. So I think that's good. I think, yeah, don't quit. Don't give up.
Don't give up. And I think with it, that's one thing we're realizing too, man. There's so many people that, and, you know, we sometimes, because we work in our communities, we're isolated sometimes with, you know, feel like we're alone in this. But, you know, I recognize, because I'm, you know, I'm so in so many different communities, that the fire is lit, and people are fighting for their people, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. You know, people are getting clean and sober. People are changing their lives. People are, now they might be doing it resistantly. They might be doing it because of the system, but we'll do it. We'll take it in each way we can get it.
Yeah, I agreed with that.
Yep, absolutely. Shoot.
Did you unplug your charger?
Yes.
Did you get your charger that's keeping you going?
Oh, my computer did that.
No, don't have your computer die.
All right. I'm good.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Well,
So, all right. You have a blessed day. Thank you for having me on. Again, I love to share anytime you need me.
well, expect a call for next January. And I know, as you mentioned, it's a long ways away, but I know your calendar's probably empty there.
Oh, right there, right now. Yeah.
We will expect you in Tachi, I can't remember the dates, but in January 2023. So we'll get
Perfect.
our first state conference since I've been here. So
Powerful.
very powerful.
Yep.
Very. Oh, Maria, see, if I keep talking long enough, people, oh, you got another thank you. Great presentation from Maria. So
Thank you, Maria. Appreciate it.
I think everybody's excited to have you on. So,
Yep.
you
We're
do-
beautiful thing.
And Cheryl also says thank you. So thank you, sir. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
I know ceremonies are kicking off, so you're probably running amok like everybody else.
Yes, I'm actually headed out tomorrow. Well, we're supposed to leave out tonight, but we got our open house for Native Dads. Has our open house on J Street, so we're doing our open house. And I figured I can leave late. I don't want to leave late tonight. I'll just leave in the morning. So tomorrow we'll be dancing this weekend, and then next weekend Strawberry up in Point Arena, and then after that we have then our big head starts. And so May on the weekends I'll be kind of out of here. I mean, I'll be pretty gone most of May. I planned that on purpose because I was like, I need that time to pray and just be centered.
Well,
Yeah.
to rejuvenate from
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
the stuff you're putting out there.
Yeah, so we have so May, I don't have a lot of things going on at all. I'm gonna be in the office maybe 2 to 3 days a week, and then
Nice.
but we're planning for June. So June we've got some stuff going on. So
Oh, you got to do something for Father's Day.
oh yeah, I'm gonna have barbecue. Yeah.
I was talking work, but okay.
Oh yeah.
They're supposed to
So
barbecue for you,
no,
Mike. They're old.
we do, but we haven't, obviously because of the pandemic. But I was thinking just to put an invitation out, and if people want to show up, they can.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the plan.
Well, that's
All
my
right.
birthday weekend,
One.
so I'm coming up. Oh, you got company. Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
good.
Good. Are you behaving?
Yeah.
Good job. You gonna give him a hard time today?
No.
No. All right. Well, you guys go have some fun.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
One.